For the Varjo Aero VR headset, Varjo supply what's called their base system, and this is an application you download and install, and you use it to. It's mandatory. You need it for the headset to work once you've plugged it and cabled it all in. I've turned off the virtual display, but normally I have that on. That's just for the purposes of this video. My settings are more or less default. You can see my interpupillary distance there is 64 millimeters. That's me. Everyone's going to be a bit different. The display brightness I left at 75%. It's bright enough. I didn't see a reason to increase it. I remember calibration because it just stops it every time you put the headset on. It will recalculate, and it's only me wearing it, so I don't need to change that. I have experimented with different resolution qualities, and I can run iRacing on the highest, but when I get up to other cars on track and a lot going on and some of the more complicated tracks, the frame rate drops. Now that I've been using OpenXR, I might be able to go back and fine-tune that, but high is good enough for the moment, so I just leave it. These other settings at the bottom are generally not used. In terms of presentation, that's cabin scene is just personal preference. I quite like it. All these others I have off. I haven't noticed a big difference in optimized performance. I might do some research on that. Workspace, I normally have my Windows desktop background appearing, so when I've got the headset on, I don't need to keep taking it off to access the desktop or to launch applications. I don't have a controller. You do need to run the display setup if you move your receivers. I use the ones from Steam. They're fixed now. I've mounted them on the wall, so I don't need to do that, fingers crossed, for a while. I always pop into... it's actually in the support tab to check the firmware, but in the system tab, I've just set mine to 1 meter elevation from the floor. That's just the position of your virtual desktop when you've got the headset on. That just seems to work for me. I don't know. I'm probably about 1 meter from the floor in my rig. I enable OpenVR and XR. I almost exclusively use XR within iRacing. Sometimes I may launch Steam. I may do something in Steam, and I may require to use OpenVR. I don't know that there's an overhead with enabling the compatibility, but that's just how I have set. And it's always good to check the version and the firmware. You can see my Varjo Base is up to date. My headset is up to date. Still hoping, as many other owners of Varjo headsets, that there may be improvements made. But it's always good to keep that up to date.